You guys, you know, after tonight on Raw, which right now is still currently going on here on the West Coast, well, it's airing right now on the West Coast. Um, I want to talk about the whole Becky Lynch being suspended angle. Look, as a longtime fan, I think a lot of us pretty much know there's several ways they're going to go with this. I mean, obviously, the way they're portraying Becky is she's not going to take the suspension line down, and she's basically going to find one way or another to sneak into the building. And don't be surprised if maybe that happens tomorrow night and she goes after Charlotte Flair, because basically the storyline that's part of this angle is she knows that Charlotte is trying to take her out of the main event, because by default, if the winner of the Royal Rumble match can't compete or even forfeits their shot, then the runner-up gets that opportunity. And it's funny that the last time we heard about this was 20 years ago, I believe. And that's when McMahon won the Rumble, forfeited his shot, but because he did that, it got transferred over to Stone Cold, who was the runner-up. So, so yeah. So yeah, that if they play up that part, especially with Charlotte, I could see Becky Lynch showing up suspended and everything, getting in the ring and attacking Charlotte, maybe even trying to give her a taste of her own medicine by trying to injure her. Now, they could keep this up for a while, maybe up to Elimination Chamber, maybe Fastlane, I don't know. And they could just have it get to the point where Charlotte will probably demand Stephanie reinstate Becky to active competition, and Stephanie will be reluctant, and maybe Charlotte might get, in her face and say, "You do it," or something like, or what Becky and Ronda have done to you will be nothing compared to what I do to you. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I know the way they're playing it up, and just the way Becky is portrayed, she's not going to, stay out of the buildings for long. She might be suspended, but she's not going to be like, "Okay, I'll do what you say." No, she'll just keep coming back and everything. Um, but the way this is going to play out, I think it's going to play out one or two ways, honestly, or several ways, I should say. That's one of them that I mentioned. The other way is she could show up at Elimination Chamber, because it looks like they're setting up Ronda Rousey's next title defense, I should say, to be against Ruby Ruby Riot at Elimination Chamber. So they're setting that up, and I've got a feeling that after the match, they might. This could be another. Like I said, this is a second scenario. Ronda could win her match against Ruby. Becky comes out of the crowd, attacks her. Ronda goes to Stephanie and says, "Reinstate the you know what, the BITCH." Excuse my language, God. But she could say, "Reinstate her right now. She tried to take me out after my match." That could happen. The third way it could happen, I think this is also going to be included in those other two as a result, if they go one of those two routes. But the third way is you can have Becky keep showing up and all that. And you could have basically Stephanie come up with a proposal. Maybe you have Triple H help out. Maybe you kind of work things out. A proposal that if Becky signs a non-liability agreement, that they'll lift the suspension, because basically the non-liability agreement wipes WWE's hands clean of anything that would happen to Becky between now and WrestleMania. So, in other words, let's say they go that route, then whatever happens to Becky is going to be on Becky. It makes sense to go that route. And again, they could use that as part of the other two angles and go with. Whether or not it's Charlotte after she gets attacked and nearly injured by Becky that demands she being reinstated, or it's Ronda. You could add that little clause to those angles at the end when doing the contract signing, ironing, or even before then, Stephanie and maybe Triple H says, okay, we're going to reinstate you, Becky, because, Charlotte and Ronda both want you in there, but have demanded we reinstate you because of what you've done or what you've been doing, but we're only going to do it if you sign this non-liability clause. And, the non-liability clause could run to and through WrestleMania. So that even if Becky walks out with the championship at Mania, even if she gets hurt during it, WWE is not going to be held responsible. It'll be on her. It'll be on Becky. So I think that's probably where they'll go. That's probably the direction they're going to go. They're either going to go straight for the non-liability contract kind of deal, because she'll keep appearing at events, attacking, certain people, or getting in the face of certain people, or doing something. And they'll just say, okay, you want back in? Here, you sign this. Yes, you take responsibility for what happens. You wipe our company's hands clean, our hands clean of what occurs to you, because it'll be on you and only you, and only you. They could, like I say, they could go straight for that, or they could have Becky attack Charlotte several times, knowing Charlotte tried to take her out of the match to take her spot because she knows of the rule, that little caveat in the Royal Rumble that states, like I said earlier, that if the winner can't compete or forfeits a shot, the runner-up gets it. Or you could have Ronda wanting Becky reinstated because maybe she attacks Ronda after her title match against Ruby Riott at Elimination Chamber. Who knows? But those are just several scenarios that they could go with. The other scenario they could go with is you could have Becky swallow her pride and say, look, I want Ronda. I've earned my shot. I'm not going to have it taken away from me. So you know what? As much as I hate to do it, I'll agree to your damn terms. I'll let myself get evaluated by the doctor. But if I don't get a clearance, or at least to compete in that match at Mania, there will be hell to pay. So they could go that route too, where she agrees to do it on the condition that she at least gets her championship match, whether or not she's 100% clear or not. So, again, these are several scenarios, but I think the most likely they're going to go with is non-liability. In other words, WWE's hands are wiped clean of it, and the only person responsible for what happens to Becky Lynch, the man, is Becky Lynch herself. So again, there's several ways they can go with this. They could have her attack Charlotte on several occasions to the point that Charlotte demands she gets reinstated, or the suspension is lifted. You could have her attack Ronda after her match at Elimination Chamber, and you have Ronda, be pissed off so much that she wants her reinstated. You can go straight for the non-liability thing because Becky keeps showing up and showing up and showing up, disrupting the shows because she wants back in the ring. She wants to compete. Or you go the route, like I said, where she swallows her pride, does the evaluation but on the condition that she at least still gets to compete in her championship match. So, again, they can go either way with it, but here's the thing though, it's good what they're doing here because they're giving the match, they're going to give the match, despite maybe a few instances, depending on where they go, they're giving the match a big fight feel. Whether it's a one-on-one or a triple threat, they're giving it a big match feel because basically you're kind of keeping most of the combatants away from each other till at least WrestleMania and possibly the main event that closes out the show. Because then the more you build towards it and the match finally happens, the bigger it's going to feel, the more important it's going to feel. The more people are going to want to tune in and watch it because they know it'll steal the show. So, especially if the payoff is what they feel and believe it's going to be. So I think it's a good idea, but like I said, these are just several scenarios in my mind that they can go in, several angles and directions they can go in, to help build towards it. And again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because as a longtime fan of 30 plus years, I've seen this play out before. And the person that always gets suspended or sometimes fired always finds a way to get brought back into the company or reinstated from the suspension because they've done something to the point that either the person they've attacked wants them back in, or they've made such a easy for me to say, such a disturbance, I should say, or disruption, that's what I'm looking for, in the shows, that the authority figure, in this case Stephanie McMahon, has no choice but to bring her back, but on the condition that she does this. So, again, several scenarios, but these are just 4 of the scenarios I think they can go with, which I think the non-liability one's going to be the one they go with the most. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. The Lexman, I'd like to hear what you have to say on this, and I'll talk to y'all later.